Hey there, I'm Rob Hatch, and this is Simple Decisions. Let's talk about building habits. Building habits is something that people are constantly struggling with, and there's lots of great advice out there. I'm always a fan of whatever works for you, but I want to talk a little bit about what has worked for me and what I share with the folks that I tend to work with, clients that I tend to work with who might be struggling with this. It all goes back to figuring out how to put success in your way. So first and foremost, habits are a powerful force. Our brains love them because it makes life easier. It's like little shortcuts, right? Let me give you a simple example that you may not think of as a habit, but the habit of tying your shoe. There's a sequence of motions that you go through. At first when you're learning how to tie your shoe, it's very difficult. You have to remember all the different ways to hold your fingers, but eventually that habit takes hold and it becomes something that you don't even think about anymore. That's really the goal here, is to figure out, how do I build something that makes it so easy I don't even have to think about it to build a good habit. So for example, as I talked about in Put Success in Your Way, one of the most difficult parts of starting a habit of fitness for me has always been the space between my bed and getting outside. Once I was outside, I knew that I could, I'm just going to run. That's just what I'm doing, or ride my bike, or whatever exercise it was that I set out to do. So I had to figure out how to make the beginning part, that space between my bed and getting out the door, as simple as possible, right? In doing that, I had to figure out what made it difficult, and what made it always so difficult is not having what I needed ready, not deciding ahead of time, like which exercise I was going to do, how long I was going to be gone, putting it on my schedule, all those things. If I have to think about any of those things, I'm going to get, I'm just going to have these weird conversations in my head, and I'm not going to get out the door. So I want to make it as easy as tying my shoes, or as easy as brushing my teeth. Another habit that we do, we don't even think about the motions. We know how to do it, right? We have everything next to us. There's a toothbrush right next to the sink. Toothpaste is right there. Everything that we need to do this is available to us. It supports us accomplishing the habit. So, what do I need to support me in accomplishing this new habit of fitness that I'm trying to build? So I think about, having my shoes next to the bed, having my socks right there, having the clothes that I need available, having my phone charged, having my AirPods charged, having everything, every piece of equipment that I feel like I need. Maybe I check the weather the night before to make sure that I have the right clothing available, and I don't have to suddenly switch and say, oh gosh, it's raining, or it's too cold, or too hot, or whatever. I have everything I've needed ready and available. Now you might say, well, how do you build that habit at night to get everything ready, right? That's the tricky bit here. And this goes back to the emotional decisions. Like, if I think about the fact that I want to be a healthy person for my family, that's the driving motivator. That's an emotional decision. I want to be healthy so that I can do things with my family. I'm going to feel better. So I'm thinking about tomorrow guy. I'm thinking about next week guy. I'm thinking about all the things that he needs and wants. And I'm using that as a motivating driver to pull things together. And eventually I'm starting to build little systems. My laundry's done. Everything I need is in the right place. And it just becomes this system that I don't even have to think about it nearly as much, to have everything ready, to gather everything, prepare it. And then, of course, when I wake up in the morning and everything is right there and everything's decided and I know exactly where I'm going, then I'm completely grateful. And there's that sort of cycle of compassion and gratitude that fuels my desire to want to get out there. I also know that anytime I start something new like fitness, my drive, my excitement, my willpower early on is going to be all about wanting to do well. It's these systems that end up supporting me when my enthusiasm wanes a bit, when it's a little colder or a little hotter, or I'm a little more tired. Having everything ready, or at the ready, supports the habit, so that when I go to do it, it's almost impossible not to get my clothes on and get out the door. That's the hard part. So I look, when I'm building habits, I look at where's the sticking point? What's the hardest thing? And what is it that I need to have around me to support me, to make the decision easy, to help me build the habit, to help me with any willpower. So I don't even have to think about applying any willpower. It's just there. I almost fall into my clothes and get out the door. So when you're building habits, think about those sticky moments. Think about where the hang up has been for you, and think about what you need to be successful to make that as easy as possible, as easy as tying your shoes. I'm Rob Hatch, and this is Simple Decisions.